Okay, Erin, welcome everybody. Erin is just going to show us real quick who's in the standings, because Ann Q's studio is number 5, and we are curious who are number 1, 2, 3, 4.
I was also very surprised how effective the classical challenge was for me personally.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Your SASR.
Yeah, I'll tell my personal story in a second. Let's share my screen real quick to take a look at the leaderboard and see what Anne was talking about. So here is the leaderboard, and let's see. Hey, I beat all my students. So I am ranked personally, whatever finishes. Where is it? Okay, so it went to this is my studio, Pat H. She is an 80-year-old beginning student, and she has over 100 classical songs learned. She did really well.
Which, if you've done 100, you're getting into level 4, like 5.
Really amazing for this beginning student that's 80 to just decided she has some time to finally learn piano. Just cool. On the individual leaderboard, I was ranked 20th with 527, and I could not catch Anne. Nope, nor will I do it. It's really interesting to see. So my personal story here.
Can you show us the group real quick? We wanted to see the studios.
Oh, all the different studios? Yeah, let me share that. Okay, so the studios is over here on the group rank. And looks like Ann Q's right behind me. Oh, look at that. You were ahead of me probably this morning, but
oh my God, golly. Wow. Hey, maybe I'll take up the challenge.
Might as well. Like, I think you passed me because I'm about done for the day. I only have what?
Wow.
4 songs left, and I've hit my goal.
What is today?
Wow.
It's like the 20th.
Today's the last day of the month, the last day of the challenge.
Okay.
So here is what I've been trying to do forever. Like, I've been trying to get to 1,000 on my SASR for years and years, and I just could not break that 1,000 until, check out the last 3 days here. 10:35, 10:19, 10:27. So what was what actually did it for me? I'll show you. I went into the library and I systematically decided I'm going to go through this challenge right here and just start sight reading. And the first, these were really fast and easy, the beginner level. And I went through all of these level 1, 2, and 3. And then the intermediate one, those are pretty fast for me. But you can see there's a bunch of them. So I did a lot of reading beneath my level. And then it started to get hard when we got into the advanced ones. These started taking me some time. And so what I did was I put hash marks on my board behind me, and I would erase one every time I got a 96. And then I'd just move on to the next classical song. Once I finished level 7, I was feeling pretty happy, but then I got into level 8 and they started taking me a lot longer. I'll just open a couple of these so you can see. Here's an academic march. This one took me 4 tries to get it. The next one took me 5. Next one, you can see that on the play count at the top. When I started getting into level 9s, that's when I really met my match. Sometimes it was taking me 16 times to play through, and some of the songs were like a minute and a half long. But what I noticed was my reading just started getting better, and I started to get excited. And then pretty soon I'm like, I'm going to take the SASR. And so I did. I took the SASR, and you saw what happened over here. And the last time I took it was this. Where's my SASR? The last time I took it was this morning, right before I jumped onto this call. I got a 1027. So 3 times in a row, something I just didn't know if I would ever get past my 1,000, but it makes me wonder now, can I push it to 1,100?
I am going to be so like upset if you get there before me. Let me just say that, because
You're 1,100 too?
well, that's my goal, is 1,100. I've been trying to catch Josh, who is in the community, Piano Marble community Facebook group. And
Yeah.
he, anyway, that's my next goal. And on the side, it says master student advanced teacher 1140 something.
1146.
And so that has been my objective and my goal. But I also tried to cross 1,000. It took me 2 years. Well, essentially from when I started Piano Marble till about, so maybe it was a year and a half to cross that threshold. And so now that you've crossed it, I'm feeling kind of like you're.
I'm kind of addicted to sight reading now. Like I've never thought I'd see that. But it is fun when you feel like you're finally progressing. You've broken that barrier that I don't know what it was. It was just really hard. And what did you?
Yeah, can I bring up an issue?
Can we stay with this point before we go to something new? Because I have a question about it. Okay, it's the same, please.
This is on the same topic. So, Aaron, you might have trouble sight reading, but you play faster and you memorize in a way that I never can. And I'm way better sight reader than you are, obviously. Sight reading is very easy to me. But there's no way I can memorize a piece, and there's no way I can play really fast. And I just in awe when I watch you. And I've noticed that with our students too. We have the students who work on stuff way beyond their level. And because they memorize it piece by piece, they've got this thing down, and they usually watch their hands when they're playing. They just are amazing. I can't do that, but I can pick up anything and sight read it.
You say you
some students can do that. Go ahead.
You say you can't do that, but you can. You just haven't spent the time that I have practicing that skill.
So that was my next question. How can I use Piano Marble to increase my speed?
Wait, can we broach that after Tabea's question? Because that will take us in a new direction. And I have some questions on that as well.
Okay.
Yeah. It was somehow very much related to what Anne is asking. If you say that you believe that this challenge, this classical challenge, is the causation of your success in this new progress in sight reading, do you have some more technical ideas why? Is that because you just dedicated more time? Or is it because you dedicated time to this specific task in this specific order? Some idea?
So yeah, I do have an idea and a theory that I've been formulating as I've been going through it. Our brains are phenomenal machines that we cannot understand. They learn to do the things necessary, and we don't understand how the brains work, but it's because I put in the time. I spent time doing it, and my brain started figuring out the patterns that it had never seen before without a whole lot of like intellectual study. It was just a process of doing. It's almost like a child who grows up learning a language. Their brains just figure it out. You put stuff in front of them and they will learn how to do it. I just spent most of my time memorizing songs when I was younger. I just wanted to show off. So I learned fast, hard pieces. Never was I really engaged in sight reading. It just wasn't fun for me, and nobody pushed me to do it. I didn't see the purpose for it.
I think
so. Here's what brought this up for me. You guys probably remember in the video thing, little Jay, who had the little dog and little song, and remember, and he's playing 5 classical pieces and relating it to the story with his dog. These pieces are way beyond the level of any of the kids that I've been doing. So his parents have been begging me to continue teaching him, and I told him, I'm not a good enough pianist to teach him. I can't do what he does. He just does this amazing stuff. So here's what I did to solve my problem. I had them come over to my house because we've been doing everything online, and I had Jay do a SASR right in front of me while I watched. And this is when I made this monumental discovery that his sight reading is way, way, way behind what he does. And that's because he gets one of these difficult pieces, for him, level 5 probably, maybe even more than that, because he's only a little teeny kitty, 6 years old, come on. And he works on it measure by measure and works on it. And I watched him play. He never looks at his hands. He's got it all down. It's right there. He can speed it up. My problem is slowing him down all the time because he can go lickety-split. And so I decided, okay, I can be his teacher because I'm going to teach him that there's more to it than just learning one piece and memorizing it and going lickety-split. We're going to teach him some more stuff. So that's a way that Piano Marvel came to my aid in my studio.
Could I add a point?
So great.
Could I add a point about this classical challenge? I believe that part of what helps the sight reading to improve in a classical challenge is because it is harmonically structured.
Oh yeah.
Classical music is harmonically structured. And that's something I drill my students on, is to understand, to play the scale, play the chords, play the arpeggio. Now you're ready to play your piece. I really, really focus on that. And I really found in watching my students with this challenge and for myself that I really believe this, that it's the classical structure that is helping to improve the sight reading. And it is understanding your harmonic structure. And that is what happens when you take a SASR, is understanding, getting the full picture of the piece before the timing starts. What key are you in? What are your 3 chords? And I just feel that that's part of what the classical challenge has enriched, is it enriches that solid focus into harmonic structure.
I would like to re-ask Aaron on his reply, just because you told a little bit about the process, and I really didn't participate in this challenge because, as I told last time, I'm doing all the 100% in the basic lessons. So I'm now in the lesson level 6, and I'm doing everything 100%. And since a lot of that is quite boring, I really started observing myself, how I do that. How my brain is doing that. And I realized there are patterns. I started writing down how my patterns work. I doubt that this is the same for everybody. I think that is quite different for everybody. And I feel you are also somebody who observes very much. You have not only a good memory, you observe very much. And do you think it would be possible that you start taking notes for yourself, and one day we could compare them on this whole process on memory and what this kind of progress is actually triggers?
Yeah, I actually am a person that loves to observe and theorize and create theories of thinking outside the box. Maybe it's a little different than I'd ever seen before. I like observing people who read really well and asking them how they started, what they did to do that. And they're like, I don't know, I just read. It's just natural for my brain. I'm like, well, that's cheating. That doesn't help me at all. So then I observe things that maybe they never even thought of. I would say it's crazy, but it's like just different processes. There's so many things and tricks to learning to sight read. You can't just say, this is the solution. There's too many things. Looking ahead is a skill. Looking ahead and looking back is a different skill. Not looking at your fingers, being able to feel for the keys is a completely different skill. But all of these combined, and then being able to analyze chord structures and say, oh, that's a D7 chord, and this is what a D7 chord sounds and feels like. And usually the D7 chord goes to a G chord. So you anticipating where things go because you understand the theory. That's another skill. So all of these skills combined together, you increase one of your skills, your sight reading improves. And you move over to increase another skill, your sight reading improves. your speed, like being able to play scales or being able to very quickly move your fingers. Are they nimble? Are they practiced well enough? Are they kind of lagging behind? That's another thing that could impose your sight reading. And so I couldn't count how many, like 30 different skills you could improve and start working on them individually. I like the way you did it. It's like you just tackled the lessons and said, I'm just going to go get 100 on all those. And when I'm done, I'll move on to another thing.
Yeah, it's different to sight read and to do something 100%. It's very different.
Although I would, yes, no, actually I was going to throw in part of the reason my sight reading was as it was without having the formal instruction was because I was accompanying so much. And so and when I was put in those circumstances to accompany, and I don't know if this is right or wrong or good or bad or whatever, but I would learn tricks to make it sound good, even though I wasn't playing the right notes. So essentially understanding the form and theory, and essentially I knew the scale and some things that I could do in a pinch if I couldn't get around those difficult passages. And so that for me was a skill that came in handy. Doesn't work so well when I'm on the SASR. It doesn't let me cheat like that, but it did allow me to learn how to under pressure accompany people without them realizing I'm kind of changing things a little bit in the process. So I think that's also something that comes into play sometimes.
If any of you are interested in this theory I have, you might try it when you're taking the SASR. I have found that the best sight readers are musical. Like when they read, it's not typewriting notes. They actually are, their phrases are gorgeous. They're actually making music out of it. And so I've tested myself instead of just like, I got to get the right notes. It's like, okay, I want to make this sound like go somewhere. I want to make it touching. And for some reason my brain, I don't know how it works, but my brain switches gears into and push all the notes and stuff into the background of my mind. And I'm still able to do it, but for some reason my score goes up. Like I'm able to read better when I'm trying to be expressive, and I cannot figure out why that works. But if you want to test the theory on yourself, try it and see if being expressive makes you a better sight reader.
That's interesting you say that, Aaron, because I think that's why I did what I did, is because I put the musicality first. Like when you're accompanying people, you need to provide that almost emotional support for them. Like you have to be really tuned in to where they are. You can't be on your own like path, and essentially I have to follow them instead of being the leader. And that required me really to tune into their musicality, because each performer was so different, and when the performer was not musical, it made it very challenging to accompany, because I didn't have anything I had to create my own, and then it's a conflict, because they are not that good at following you really as the accompanist.
I am thinking that this is probably related to some neurological chemicals, perhaps dopamine. Something gets released when you go into this music mode, and it's actually a chemical, and it's actually hormonal, and it actually puts you in a different stage, so that instead of playing under stress, you're playing high in a very mild way.
I would like to distinguish two different states. Correct me, Anne, if you do feel that it's not really a difference, because doing all this 100%, I realized that there is a huge difference between, let's say, being musical, which has a challenge, because if you anticipate or if you have your own expression, there is not one true form. So sometimes the notes go up and you want to go down, and that's where I make mistakes. But that's probably supportive. The bad thing is becoming emotional, which is not the same than becoming musical. When I say I'm musical, I see things like, I really loved one of the pieces because I was dancing with Russell Crowe, so you can imagine, all the time. But other pieces really they touch me. And they are very difficult to play 100% correct if you're touched. It's another thing perhaps for sight reading, I haven't thought that yet. I will test that out.
This is an interesting concept because it's like you have a runner's high and you have a sight reading high. Essentially, well, for me, an accompanied
I don't know
high.
if that really applies to the sight reading part because, yeah, I don't know. But if they are very beautiful, it's more difficult to play them in sight reading. I prefer stupid things in sight reading. Like, things that do not touch me.
I have a student who plays like Ann Q, like you were talking about, incredibly challenging pieces, but he's in level 1C, but he's playing like a level 11 pieces, you know, and he has the same process. And I had him work on sight reading this week. And oh my goodness, he was so frustrated by it because he knows he can play these hard things. And I sat down with him, and one thing with him is his ear. He relies on a specific sense more than the other senses. And so he can listen to somebody play a piece and watch them and pick it up really quick. And I mean, he's playing his dad's piece that's a level 14. Like but he's not really reading it per se. He's kind of learning it more by rote. Yeah. He can read it, but it's more like he uses Piano Marvel to kind of, help him out with the process. But I said, that's such a gift. I was telling him, it's so great you have that. I want you to nourish that and progress with that. But you actually do have the capacity to learn sight reading as well. And I'll help you with that, but I think sometimes people rely heavily on a certain sense for a certain skill sometimes.
Absolutely. It's all about motivation. Like I was never motivated to learn sight reading. I didn't see the purpose for it. My students who struggle with it, they learn by ear very well, they learn really hard songs, but I have to be the person who can see the longer vision for them. Like I know why it's important to sight read, even if you don't, because I went through it. And so I have to kind of weave in these motivating things and kind of sometimes trick them into like, hey, we're going to do a competition this month, knowing that this is going to take some time to get them to read, but it's my job as a teacher to make sure they get that skill in the long run, even though they don't see it's important now.
And that's such the beauty of those challenges that Piano Marvel has, that it can kind of trick some students into doing tons of sight reading in a way that's so fun and engaging. What do you do for the students that don't get into those challenges? How do you help them with sight reading? Because the challenges are amazing. They help a ton.
Something else.
I just mean like.
I just brainstorming. So what I like to do is I like to understand the psychology of human beings and what motivates them. And most of the time it's social pressure, social environment. And so if you can start to get a friend excited and then get another friend excited, and they're like, why are my friends excited about this? So I put charts up on the wall and do little contests and try to create close competitions because nobody likes a blowout. It's not fun anymore. And so I just have to innovate as I go.
In answer to that, for the kids who aren't on Piano Marvel or can't be motivated by Piano Marvel, for me the solution is let them find a piece they absolutely are crazy about. And I remember a little girl a couple years ago, she wanted to play Hedwig's theme. And I found a version of it that was like about 10 levels beyond her. And measure by measure, she learned that piece. Honestly, she learned it and she can play it, and she can play it beautifully because she cared about it. And the interesting thing is she's still taking piano.
You can also use that same method if somebody really wants to play a piece, and if you're good in that. Not every teacher has the same talents, but if you're good in finding out which pieces support playing that piece faster than just going only measure by measure, because there are so many patterns you find in easier pieces, and you can get trained to that, or harmonics and so on, like Evelyn is doing. That can be a motivation that they do some other things and not only that piece. for some, I think like Aaron says, it depends also on every person.
In the end, what you don't want to happen is have a student quit because you had an agenda to get them to sight read, or you had an agenda to get them to do something they didn't want to. Because if you push them so hard, they're like, I hate this, then you've lost them for life. So it's, even though you want them to read, you just have to be careful not to push them so hard and say, there's nothing, like, just make it so it's no fun anymore. So ultimately, you have to keep them learning and engaged and excited. So there's lots of
everything you do is just that they can play better. So also sight reading is useful for playing better, for understanding music better. And if it's not working right now, do it with
And if you have a
something
student
else.
who never learns to sight read, it's still better to learn how to play the piano.
Yeah, of course.
So be it. At least keep them in piano.
I found actually through sight reading by mathematics. That's very strange. Listening to you, I realized that, because when I see mathematics, I hear music. But I never hear music in the past when I looked at notes, at scores, which doesn't make sense. But it was just like I had to focus so much to understand what these letters mean. And now I can see it. Yeah,
So,
it's fun.
and you had a really good question earlier. I'm going to have to jump off because I got a meeting in about 10 minutes. But I'd like to address your question. You said that I play some impossibly hard songs. That was my forte. Like when I was 10 years old, no, I started piano when I was 10, and I started in book 1 in the Sham series. Went through it in one day, and then I decided this is too easy. I want to play Furley's. So I started Furley's the next week, and then I played that for a talent show, and people are like, wow, that kid's amazing. And I started getting some praise for that, and them saying, hey, this kid's really good. So I thought, well, if that impressed them, let me look for something harder. So my next song was Chopin's Revolutionary Etude. That was literally my next song after Furley's. And I learned that, and everybody was amazed. My fingers could fly so fast. It probably sounded horrible, but my fingers were fast. But my motivation was all about impressing people with my speed and the sound and all that. So I didn't have a teacher either, so it was hard to learn like good skills and appropriate skills in good timing. But I did learn the skill of speed, and I put in time on learning these really hard songs and the power behind it, because I like to bang as a boy, get all that energy out. And so I was able to get a lot of power behind my playing, and found that I could make it very musical and move people. So I started doing that. Now, as I'm at the age I am now, I realized that the skills I picked up a lot of it was speed that a lot of people haven't picked up. And so I learned tricks how to get faster and faster, and how to move. Now, there are Alicia de la Roche from Spain. I tried to play a concerto and listen to her play a passage. I could never figure out how she played it so fast. And there are some techniques that I just don't have yet, but I'm going to have to figure out how to get those. Next week, actually starting tomorrow, we have a new competition, and this one's all about technique and speed. And it's called the Scale Ninja, or the Ninja Saga. The Ninja Saga. So let me share my screen really quick and show you what the Ninja Saga is about. All right, I'm going to go into my, where are we? Okay, so this is the beta. You're going to see this tomorrow when you type in Ninja Saga, and this will be actually first. Whoa, how about Ninja Saga? We have a smart something else. Oh, some really cool things coming out. you're going to see some weird things here that you don't see on piano marble. For example, what are these things?
I like the title.
So notice we have a different layout on some of this to help your students see the value of learning pieces more
That's cool.
systematically. These are.
We will see it like that.
What is? Oh, you'll see this tomorrow or
Cool.
soon. This will be released soon. We'll let you just play around with it. It's really cool. But the Ninja Saga challenge starts off with just some easy ones, and it goes all the way to the professional ones. And so when I open up this professional C major saga here, and then I hit this practice mode, you're going to find, oh, great. It doesn't like me being on two different browsers. It's not going to let me do this. You're going to find that it's really, really, really hard to get this fast enough at the professional level that we've put here. 192. That is super, super fast.
You can play it actually without touching the keys.
I was gonna say, Ann Q and I were talking before this meeting came in. When you're done talking, can you actually play it at that speed so people can hear what that is supposed to sound
Like how
like?
fast that actually goes?
Yeah.
I can do that. In fact, if I type in Ninja, what is it? Ninja Scale Ninja? Oh, there we go. Scale Ninja. I've actually put this right here, the secret to how you get faster. And I gave this to Josh because he was trying to become a ninja and he tried to take shortcuts. I'm like, Josh, don't take the shortcut, do the whole thing. So if you come over here, is like how to gain speed with your scales. I go through systematically a plan. It tells you the purpose, tells you to be careful. Do not ruin your hands by doing this. Let me zoom in a bit. Because you can, like if you practice with bad technique, you can ruin your hand. The prerequisites, I have them go through some prerequisites before they do that. But then steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a video where I actually do 19 minutes. I actually do the process through this particular scale. I think it's E flat minor. Yeah, E flat minor.
Can you drop that link in the chat for everybody?
Let's see. Yeah, if you just do a search for Ninja Scale Ninja, it's the first thing that comes up. And you'll open it. Easier to do that from memory than the link. Type in Scale Ninja and you'll see this page here. And just go down to the very bottom where there is this how to gain speed with your scales. Then
I just checked it.
And it really, really works. Finally, Josh decided to buckle down and do it. And he became the 4th scale ninja in the world.
Who was the first?
I was the first.
Okay. I was thinking that, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah. But it took me about 2 months to do it. And I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning working, totally addicted to it. And it was exciting. And I'm getting speed. And then I told Dr. Sheehan, I'm like, you should try this. And she did it in 1 day. She said, well, I cheated because I do scales every single day. I'm like, well, you're crazy. But she already had that skill. So she was, ironically, Josh is the first one to do it who didn't do their doctoral studies in piano performance. So it's possible to do it even if you haven't done your doctoral studies in piano performance. But go through and just read this systematically as an experiment and see where it takes you on their speed. It really, really works. Each of these steps, just follow through. If you want to just watch the video, because that's the easiest thing, like, because I explain all the steps, just watch the video and see how I put it together. Am I going to have any takers on that one?
Well, I want to do it.
I would love to see how far you get.
Technique
Definitely.
has always been my weakness. You know, it's always been where I struggle the most. And I've gotten advanced. I got through all the advanced, you know, ninja stuff, but that professional has knocked me on the ground. Has anybody gotten a professional scale to, what do you call it? The highest belt? Has anybody here done that? No. Okay. Yes, Aaron. Yeah. Okay. Well, you're not going to play it for us right now. I'm take it because you got to go.
Oh, I actually have some time, but my fingers are cold. I can try.
Even with your fingers cold, I think we're all going to fall off our seats. I'm just
Okay. I'll do I don't know. Let me do the A minor. So, all right. Where am I? Library. Is it frozen? Okay. The library.
By the way, thanks for coming today, Aaron.
Oh,
That
welcome.
was so great.
Oops. Okay, you have to type Saga, Ninja Saga. I'll open this and I'll go to the professional level scales. I'll do the minor. Where are we? A harmonic minor. This will be a fun one. Okay, wish me luck.
Good
Can I
luck.
start off with a couple practice ones? I'll just do a couple slow ones.
Oh no, we can't hear his piano. Can you guys hear it?
You won't be able to hear it.
No.
Really cold. My fingers are frozen. So I got down to 5.4, 96% with only one mistake.
Wow.
Not bad, too cold. Yeah, I'm gonna have to run my hands under hot water. I put it under water and I warm them up, especially the wrist part.
Yeah.
Keep my wrists warm.
So,
My
and
shoulder.
Q, can you see why I have not gotten to the professional level yet? It is so
Wow.
fast.
This is also a question of strengthening the fingers, really. Yeah.
Yes, and strengthening the fingers. But before you do those, I would just systematically go through everything first. I'd go through and start just going down the list.
Has it,
That's what I'm gonna do.
does anybody have a student that has gotten 100% on a professional scale or anything? Because I know some of you have really advanced students. Okay, that's the challenge. That's the challenge. Who can get it in the next month?
I don't have any students that can handle that. I have
can't.
one student who last year, she was 12 years old. She actually, I can show you if I go to the leaderboard on that. Let's see, there's a professional. Oh, I think you get to the leaderboard. There's a couple of ways, but if I do ninja, and I go to the professional scales, and I go to the leaderboard.
How many have achieved it so far total? Every single scale.
Here's my class rank. Isabel, she's a 12-year-old student and she's up to a brown belt.
Wow.
On all her scales.
Yeah, on every key, every scale and every key.
Wow.
So if I go to just the C major, I can see if Isabel had a 99%. She nearly had her black belt on the C major scale.
You mean ninja?
On the C major scale. She's got a brown belt on the G major. So you can see how that works. So I think I'll talk to Isabel. Maybe I'll see how high she can get. You can see these are hard.
Do they have leaderboards for like just one scale? Like you were showing your class, but can you see like all the people?
Yes, every scale has its own leaderboard for every single.
Oh,
So C major, you can see who's the fastest in the world.
Okay.
Where your students are.
Well, I think that was your meeting, right, Aaron?
That was my meeting. I must run, but thanks for letting me come in and run my mouth.
Oh, it was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Wait, what was that? Did you guys hear that?
And this was my son. Sorry.
Oh, hi,
He's next to me.
son.
He can't hear you. That's why. This why
Oh.
I have the headset on. He's working for me right next to me.
Well,
Say hello.
He's like floating in the air in that
Yeah.
background.
Because of the background.
Well, I wanted to hear from, so I know we haven't heard from Kelly. By the way, welcome, Kelly. This is your first time coming, right? Who knows
Yes, it
Kelly?
is. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Does anyone know Kelly? Because I know,
No.
Evelyn, you're in Colorado.
Yeah,
Where
I know.
are
I
you,
know.
Kelly?
Huh?
Where are you?
I'm in Parker now.
Ah, okay.
I was
I'm in
Pueblo.
Lakewood.
Yay! I know. We're close by.
So
Yes, I
I,
know. Evelyn.
I know we just have a few minutes more, but I wanted to hear from Kelly, Cheryl, and Cindy, what you guys in your studios have been doing or found successful for helping with sight reading or technique, either one. Is there somebody who would like to go first? Oh, that Evelyn, is that your husband? We've never seen him before. He kind of snuck back out.
He decided not to enter.
Cindy, do you want to go first?
Sure, I don't have any monumental ideas, I don't think, but I do have some students that absolutely groan when I tell them we're going to do a sight reading test. I do small group, and so periodically I'll, I say, okay, first thing we're doing a sight reading, and most of the kids don't mind, but there are some that just struggle and they hate it. And I'm not sure why that is, but the only thing that we've been doing so far is that my little motivation for that is if they get a higher score than their very last test, they get to go to the candy drawer and get one piece of candy. If they get a new high score, they get two. So that's just so simple. But after talking about this new challenge that's coming up, I'm thinking about how I'm going to implement that and, do the cheerleader rah rah, because some kids also hate scales.
Yeah.
And they don't want to do the fingering, and they've been cheating on the fingering. So to try to get their brain to go back and fix the fingering, painful.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed teaching online is when it comes to scales, like you have to have an overhead view because it's cheating, and you tell them it's going to bite you in the end, but some of them still don't do it. So okay. Cheryl?
In Utah, we have a program called Achievement in Music. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but the students have to learn 6 scales to pass off for their technique section. They have a sight reading section, a technique section, theory, ear training, and performance. And I give them the scales that go with their songs. And Aaron has put the Achievement in Music scales in the Piano Marvel program. And at each level, they have to do certain speeds in order to get 100%. And that's what I follow mostly, but I also some of the students aren't in achievement in music, but they have to do scales anyway. Everybody does scales. And I try to do the scales that go along with the songs that the keys that their songs are in, as well as this discussion has shown.
Yeah, my son is 9 years old, and he's not. He asked me a question the other day, and he said, "Mom, how do you read that music so quickly and figure it out so quickly?" And I said, "Well, part of it is that I know what notes are in that key signature, and so I anticipate those notes." So there is a connection between your scales, chords, and arpeggios and sight reading, because, you know, and I'm telling you, like, you guys don't know, I'm telling my son this, I'm saying, like, this is part of the reason. And I'm a math person. I get the feeling Tabea is too, just from your previous comments, but for me, music is math, and it's just gorgeous math. Like, the perfection of it is stunning to me. And so when I play, I am thinking in scales, and I am thinking in chords and those types of things.
Same here. Cammie,
Yeah.
I have to go. My grandson's here to throw them on.
Thank you for coming, Cheryl.
Yes, thank you for all this.
Bye, Cheryl.
I'm glad we got you in right there at the end. So, bye.
In our bridge classes from Let's Play Music, we have backing tracks for all the scales at 2 speeds. And, you know, I can hit one right now and just play it for you. This is a performance speed. If I can just, yeah, it's going to start playing. So there's all different styles of music used, and they have 2 different speeds for each scale. And when I have the kids play for me in class, they know exactly what. What's that?
Oh, I think your son talking is like over.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay, well, I just wanted to say that the backing tracks are really helpful for kids to learn scales. Keeps them in time, and they have fun doing it. It's musical. You know.
And I have a thought, but I'm going to hold on to it because I want to hear from Kelly, just in case we're going to lose her too if she has to go. So
No, today I do not have to go.
she texted, she's like, "Do you have a meeting I can actually come?" So
Okay. I teach it mostly a younger group. I've got some middle schoolers. Those are my oldest, and they're beginner intermediate, but they really love the challenges, the sight reading challenges. I have some though that they love the SASR. They love to take a SASR, and some hate it. So it just depends on the kid, you know. The boot camps, that was a hit with some of them because they could redo them over and over and over until they got the scores that they wanted. They thought that was great. They thought they were getting away with something. The leaderboards, of course, I'm sure you guys already talked about that. The competition, they love that. One of the favorite competitions was what was the last month's challenge that we did before classical? Was it Disney? Or what?
I'm sorry, I was blanking out. Thank you.
Wasn't it boot camp?
What was it?
Yes. Okay. So what they were trying as hard as they could to do was to beat Aaron Garner's group. They just wanted to beat Aaron and his class. And Aaron had come to town, and I took a selfie with Aaron and showed them that he came to visit me because he heard we were doing so well. He was nervous. So they want to beat Aaron Garner. A few years ago, in talking about scales, I asked, since I have so many beginners that aren't ready for scales yet, I asked him to put a 5-finger pattern ninja. I think he did. I think he has that. You know,
Yeah, I think he did.
yeah, I'm sure he did. Anyway, just for me and my kids. So he's so great whenever you have an idea to, you know, about how to help younger kids do something everybody else is doing, so because they all want to do the same thing everybody else is doing. I teach 5-finger patterns to all of my kids, and I teach them how to play, 5-finger tunes in all 12 keys in major and minor. And that just helps them be able to sight read, like you say, so much better, even at the young age when they can do 5-finger scales. I use an app called iReal Pro.
Is that IREAL Pro?
And it's real cheap. I think I had it for so many years. I forgot how much I paid for it, like $5 or something. But it has the background accompaniments for the 5-finger patterns and scales, kind of like
Anne.
like she was showing us. So that's nice, and that it has a lot of really cool features. Anyway, that's for another day. But so those are,
yeah, and one thing that I really love about the Scale Ninja ones is that they can earn belts. So it's not like they have to get 100% or nothing. It's like you get a white belt and then a yellow belt, so they can work on their speed.
Yeah.
Which I need for the pro. I'm going for the white belt, try to get that.
There's a further motivation to play scales. So listening to Kelly, I just remembered what I do with some kids is to teach them how to use scales or chords, or however, at which level they are, for composition, for improvement, for improvisation, because that's the easiest way to compose. You start with a scale and just leave out some tones or whatever, and you can go from there. So it's very, very easy. And if you control the scales, you really have half of all the compositions done.
That goes right in line with Chris's comment about composing being mostly steps, a few skips, and just, a leap here and there. That works perfectly for scales. You're just stepping around in the scales, a little bit here and a little bit there. I felt like Cindy had something to say. Did you?
No, but I was curious, when was the last time we did the Ninja Challenge? Has it been a whole year?
No, it hasn't. It was like,
it seems like I just did that.
It was later in the year last year. They're doing it earlier this year.
Okay.
Because I thought the same thing. I was like, whoa, it's here. I thought we just did it, but yeah.
Because last time we went all out with posters and, and the kids really liked it.
Well, and I would be interested in, and I know Ann Q would be interested in, and check with you guys next week if we had one focused on technique. What is technique? How to achieve good technique? Kind of some of the things Aaron was talking about in that web page that he had up, but also addressing all these other aspects of technique as well. Would you guys be interested in having a group class on that?
Yes.
Yay.
Yes,
okay.
definitely.
Try to find, maybe we'll see if Aaron could come on. I was going to say, I would try to find somebody who's really, understands all of those aspects well, that could come and share with us if possible. And of course we can share with one another as well, but that's something that I would like to improve on personally and help my students as well. So you guys made this awesome. Does anybody have any other comments or questions? No. I have to say, I miss having Michelle here. Like, I'm used to having her here. So we'll have to let her know we missed her, and it'll be nice to have her back next week. Tabea, I will email you. Is that all right? Okay. I think that's all for today, unless anybody has something else as far as sight reading specifically that that they have found that helps their students. Kelly.
Yes, the one thing, and I don't know if this necessarily is the same subject as what you're talking about. I've found doing the sight reading challenges myself. I don't know if anybody's mentioned this, but it has helped me find new music for my students, like so much.
Yes.
That is a good point.
Even
for performances.
I can't believe how many songs I've found by just doing even the easy ones, I'll go through and just play and try to get as many golden tickets, but I've found so much good repertoire for the students by doing these sight reading challenges. It's great.
Wow, that
Great
is
point.
yeah,
it's true.
Like when you go through it, when you're going through the challenges, it's there are pieces that we've been playing for years, but it was back when I played that one, and
Right, I
that would
forgot.
be really good for this student. So
That's
the
what I-
challenges are dynamic for reminding us about repertoire. Yeah.
Oh,
I've also noticed that the sight reading, for me, even though I consider myself a good sight reader, because people have always told me that, although being in this community now, I recognize I'm middle of the road. But, you know, people who don't play piano are like, you're amazing. And one thing I've noticed when I've been going through the challenges is that it will expose to me the music, the types of styles that I am not very good at, that I need more work on, like the boom chuck, you know, the waltzes. Oh my goodness. I'm not so great at that. So I think that's helpful also to identify the areas that need more work as well, that you avoided doing without realizing you were avoiding doing them as well. So, well, we are right at the hour. So does anybody else have anything else they wanted to share? Thank you all. You guys are lovely. Thank you for letting me jump in and host while Michelle
Thank
was on
you.
the
Well
road.
done.
And I'm glad that Aaron jumped in. That was so great. So thanks for coming. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.